Hi everyone. So today's video is a little different from the usual, but I thought I'd share it with you. Thought maybe it would interest some of you. For myself, I like to sometimes see a little bit into the personal life of some of the YouTubers that I watch, and today's video is kind of like that. We're planning on leaving for our summer vacation tomorrow, which is Friday. We'll be gone a little over a week. And honestly, when I booked this last winter, I thought our cottages would probably be finished. We go on a relaxing vacation, no worries or anything, but that is not the case. Our cottages are not finished. We probably shouldn't be going, but it was almost too late. You know, I had made the reservation. It's actually at Outer Banks, so I booked a condo, and it's kind of hard to get your money back with those. And plus, we do need a vacation. We love it out there. We're excited to go. We're just going to try to relax and not think about all the things that should be done here at home. So I thought I'd take you with me just a bit on what I do to prepare for a vacation. Not that there's not many ways of doing that, but I can share what kind of works for me. I always have these certain things that I like to do, and I thought I'd kind of take you with me what I've been doing this week in preparing for it. Being a gardener, I of course think everything needs to be weed-free and trimmed and clipped before I leave for vacation. That way when I come home, it's not just, you know, overtaken by weeds and kind of depressing. So that's what I'm doing here, is just going over everything. I even had some pots that I decided to just take the flowers out of and just plant directly into my flower beds. That way there's not as much watering for Marlene to do. I'll give you guys a quick little tour here of my garden in this area. There's not a whole lot going on, but here and there there's splashes of color right now. Eventually I hope to have it balance more. Everything is more one level and blooming evenly. I feel like there's lots of unevenness. It's just kind of hard for me, a bank like this. There's Pebbles. Hi! You may remember this morning glory wall that I did earlier this summer. They are climbing up there nicely. So far I haven't had any blooms. Hopefully those will still come sometime this summer. You guys may remember I had planted alyssum along the border here. And as you can see, about 5 or 6 plants are looking pretty good. But a lot of them just kind of disappeared, didn't make it. I'm debating, do I want to clip these hosta flowers off now, or do I want to wait till later? I know by the time we come home again, they're not going to be nice. Right now, they're still looking pretty good. I'll probably go ahead and clip them. I can't bring myself to throw them out, so I'm going to stick them in this pitcher. Enjoy them this week. As you can see, I kind of redid my little pond waterfall back here. If you remember correctly, it used to be more a waterfall look, as in the water would run over a flat rock kind of into the pond, probably creating more of a natural look. But I had such a hard time keeping that water guided correctly. Like sometimes it would slowly leak out, like run beneath or behind the rock, and therefore out of the pond, and suddenly my pump would be dry pumping, which isn't good. So I thought I'm just gonna, for now, direct it using a pipe. And at this point I just have a plastic pipe, but I do have an old rusty iron pipe that I want to cut a piece off of and then use that. I think that would look more attractive, kind of coming out of the rocks. So I'm not quite finished with it at this point, but for now, before we leave for our vacation, it's just going to be the plastic pipe. Something I always like to do before vacation, and I like to do this all the time, but especially before leaving for a week or so, is clean out the fridge. I don't want to come home and find unidentifiable objects in there. So that's what I'm doing this morning, just going through everything and making sure there's nothing that will spoil. And some of the things I'll probably give to Marlene in case they want to use it, like produce, things like that. you can see, pretty empty. I have a few items here that I want to check with Marlene to see if they will eat. These strawberries, and then also this chicken broth. And this is something we may still eat before we leave. But otherwise, I think everything's going to be okay. The milk is probably going to expire too, but I'll again check with Marlene to see if she will have use for it. But at least it's nice and clean. Now, just get rid of this mess here. I had fixed some lasagna this morning, so not all of these dishes are just from cleaning out the fridge. I always hate to see food go to waste, but I dump it outside, like back in the woods, so I think some of the critters can get to it at least. When traveling to the beach, I normally just get snacks to take with us to eat on the way. You know, with boys especially, they're always wanting something to eat. So here I'm in Walmart getting a few snacks. Something we always like to do when we go on vacation is take our loose change to the bank and turn it into cash. It's amazing how much actually builds up, and it really helps with meals and different things that you do on vacation. So I'm going to do that today. As you can see, I have various little jars here that are overflowing with loose change. I always like to try and get our vehicle as clean as possible before traveling. It's so much more fun to pack things up if everything smells good and looks pretty good. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm using my cordless Dyson sweeper to just sweep things out. I'll get rid of any trash in here. And then I also fixed some soap and water. I plan to kind of go over everything and just make sure everything's nice and clean. And Ephraim is planning on cleaning the outside, so as soon as I'm finished here, he'll probably do that. Here I'm using my trusty Norwex cloths to clean the windows. Here I'm using the Enviro cloth, as my damp cloth to clean it, and then following up with the polishing cloth. And I do have a Norwex link down below in the description box in case you're wanting to try these. We always like to make sure our vehicle is filled with gas before heading out in the morning. It's time to start packing. We always have our own individual, suitcases or duffel bags. And here I'm just packing my suitcase. Of course, there's numerous other bags that I end up packing, beach towels, food. And then I always take my work with me. I need my computer and my cameras. Here's something I don't do very often, but I like to do it, especially before going to the beach, painting my toenails. MB kindly let me use her gel nail polish, and she has this little machine that dries it instantly. I'm sure there's a fancy word for it, not sure what it's called, but it definitely did the job. And to think that I really enjoy painting, I wasn't very good at this. I'm not sure, was it because it was late at night when I did it, or just not steady enough hand, but I ended up not doing the best job, but I think it'll work. Often when we plan a beach vacation, we like to go a few days earlier and actually spend a day or so in the mountains. Of course, you know, we live in Ohio, and then traveling from Ohio to the Outer Banks, we go through some very beautiful mountain country. And in this case, we will head directly south down towards North Carolina, and we have an Airbnb that's located in Virginia but almost on the border of North Carolina. We plan to stay there Friday night, and then Saturday morning we plan to do our hike. I'm really excited about that. I love hiking. In fact, that's often one of my biggest highlights of this trip is just the mountains and the hiking. I like the beach too, but I really love the mountains. And then after our hike on Saturday, we'll head east toward the Outer Banks, and we have another Airbnb booked there in North Carolina, and then we'll stay there Saturday night, sleep in Sunday morning, probably until 11 o'clock before we leave. And if everything goes as planned, we should arrive at our condo around 3 to 4 o'clock. The first Airbnb was located in Abington, Virginia, and it was just a nice ranch-style house. Definitely worked quite well for the 4 of us. One of the biggest breaks I get, of course, when traveling is to eat out, not having to cook. And in this case, we found the pepper mill. It was located in an old house, very beautiful. It's always fun to try to find unique places like this. The food was delicious. The next morning we were ready to go on our hike. We decided to hike Callaway Peak. Our trailhead was located about an hour from our Airbnb. We always use the All Trails app when planning a hiking trip. The hike we chose was labeled as hard, and we wanted a challenge, so this was just right for us. We were able to see our total elevation gain, which was around 2,100 feet. The mountaintop elevation in itself would be around 6,000 feet. I definitely recommend the All Trails app if you're at all looking to do some hiking. Very informative. The summit is partially in clouds, which is fairly common, of course. It still looked beautiful with the clouds rolling through. I had brought some bologna and cheese along for our hike. That along with crackers and snacks. Mom had baked these delicious molasses cookies for us, took some of those along. We enjoyed our lunch on top of the mountain, which was really cool. After our hike, we left the Grandfather Mountain State Park and headed east toward Warrenton. And let me tell you, the Airbnb we stayed in there was probably one of the highlights of my trip. You guys know how I love old things and old houses. That is what this was. It's called the Pete House and Gardens, and if you're ever in the area and you like things like this, I would definitely recommend this place. It was located on Church Street, right there in Warrenton. I hardly know where to begin to express how beautiful and ornate this place was. I feel pictures and videos don't even do justice. I wasn't able to capture everything. Everything from the original old windows and doors to closet knobs, like glass knobs, high ceilings, wide trim, wood floors, just beautiful. I mean, honestly, if it was my home, I would probably redo some of it. As far as I'm not really fond of the bright colors, but very fitting to the neoclassical era that this house was built in. This house had 5 bedrooms, 3 of them being king-size beds, and for me that's always a plus. In fact, that's the first thing I put in as a filter if I book something, is it needs to have a king-size bed for John and myself. It just seems if you're used to that, you can't really sleep in anything smaller. I did a bit of research, on this area, and back in the day, which this house was built in 1911, I believe, some of the richest people in North Carolina lived along this street. It was definitely one of those mansions that if you, drive by it, if you're like me, you think, oh, I just want to see the inside of it. And here I finally got to do that. The boys, of course, thought it seemed a bit creepy and haunted, but I, of course, did not even think of that. I was too busy just taking everything in. 2 of the king suites had attached bathrooms, and then the third one was just a bedroom in the hallway with a king-size bed. The other one had a queen or a full, and then one with a twin-size bed. So 5 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms. And of course the kitchen and the bathrooms were the areas that had gotten some remodeling done, which very understandable. If you want to rent something out, you definitely need a functional nowadays kitchen and bathroom. Somehow I missed filming the dining room, which is too bad. It was beautiful. Here are just a few glimpses of it. Never really got the actual room and some of the beautiful dishes in there. Even the sounds here just took you back in time. This was just the inside. Let me show you some of the outside. guess that gives you guys a brief glimpse into our summer vacation and some of the prep things that went on before we left. I gotta say, it is a good feeling to come home and have the gardens relatively weed-free and things, you know, somewhat caught up around here. Even though we had a really fun vacation, it's just so good to be home again. My cats were so happy to see me. I think they really missed me. Before ending here, I have a quick Etsy shop announcement. We are releasing some new products on the shop. These aren't new for White Cottage Company, but new to the Etsy shop. These are products that I had through the peddler. You may remember last summer we had different Crocs and t-shirts and cutting boards, various items that I had in my new product line, what I called it. As I'm filming here, we have the Crocs listed, and these are locally made here in our area, and they're heavy duty, beautiful Crocs. So make sure to check those out if you're looking for something like that. As always, I hope your day is going great. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.